Well, hello again, handsome. I've been waiting for you. I figured you'd show up early enough. I suppose the girl next to you is your client? She suits that uniform to a T.
Hello. Come on, we only just walked in the door and you already got her read.
My name's Bermati, sweetheart. I'm the owner and bartender of this fine establishment.
Do I have to take your word for it? Because I just saw a painting back there that's the same painting that was used in previous Trails games. Therefore, the fine aspect of this one has definitely gone down a notch or two. Alright? Not everybody can have the same paintings. This is a fine establishment. You gotta have some unique paintings in here to fill up the walls.
Van and I have a very special relationship.
You have a boyfriend. We just scratch each other's backs, that's all. Helps that he makes some of the best coffee and cocktails in town. He's also a first-rate information dealer with a heck of a lot of fishy contacts. Oh, I see. Why are you dropping all his business to this schoolgirl? Like, she's just gonna run and go tell all of her schoolgirl friends that this guy is super shady and just runs an information network, and then he's gonna get in trouble with the police and all this other junk. Like, come on, man. My name is Agnes Claudel. It's a pleasure to meet you. Oh, isn't she a polite one? What a lovely client you have today. So I assume whatever led you here regards Giacomo. Also, I gotta throw it out there. She just casually said, "Oh, you have a boyfriend," and Van did not like flip over a table or something like that. You know, he was just like, "No, you know, we just homies." You know, I like how that played out. You know, there wasn't any embarrassment, there wasn't any like outrage. It was just playing it cool, you know, like, nah, we just cool. I like how they did that. That's right. Word travels fast. Of course it would. The scene of the crime was practically in my front yard. Found him difficult to like as someone in the same trade, but I'd have never wished this on him, even if he did most likely bring it on himself. What do you mean? So he did put his hands on the fire, or in the fire. Guessing it was last night. Well guessed, you're absolutely right. One of my sources tells me he tipped off the police. Said a criminal gang was in the midst of a massive drug deal. That's no good. It's not that uncommon. But I'm more thinking it was a hoax. Indeed it was. The police arrested several from the scene, but they found no evidence that drugs ever changed hands. However, it did look like they were in the middle of a dispute of some kind. But who the other party was, they could not ascertain. I gotta throw it out there that there was no evidence that drugs ever changed hands. What evidence would there be? We got to see the scene. There was a briefcase, and the only thing that could possibly occur here was the people said there's no drugs in the briefcase. But since there wasn't a briefcase for the police to pick up, they're not exactly going to take their word for it. So, what do you mean there's no evidence? Like, there's no evidence to not say that there's no evidence. Now, the ones caught were also saying something along the lines of, "Who ratted us out? They wouldn't have done it. So, was it someone on our side?" Huh. Judging by all you've said, it sounds like those criminals and that other party were still scheduled to do some kind of deal, even if it wasn't drug-related. And Giacomo called the police on them, creating confusion by doing so. Well, yeah, you're dead on. He took advantage of that to make off with something from the scene, and ended up with a one-way ticket to the other side for it. My thinking is along the same lines as yours, though I haven't got a clue what the something in question is. As for how he was able to make off with it completely undetected, I can only speculate. Must have been some kind of trick to it. You don't think he used a Zypha, do you? No, there still aren't many of them in circulation. I think he used the previous model, which fits his objective better. There's a fair number of them making the rounds on the black market these days. A Ramda. Hey, I was right. Calvard's 5th generation orbment. Man, they progressed quickly. Yeah, the one developed between Verne and the Epstein Foundation a while back. It was used by the police and army for a while, but soon as the 6th gen was introduced, they wasted no time dumping it. Zypha's better, sure, but the Ramda was just as good as Erebonia's Arcus back then, with its most notable feature being stealth capabilities. So you think he used that stealth to hide something? Quite. Well, less something and more someone himself. It lets you disappear as if by magic. How long it lasts depends on the user, and it can't avoid tripping sensors. But slipping into a scene that's already in disarray and stealing something, that would be child's play. That does all make sense. Puts it all into perspective for us, huh? When we charged into the maintenance room after hearing a scream, all we found was Giacomo's corpse. But we weren't the only people who were there. The criminals who slit his throat were still there, too. They just snuck right past us using Ramda's stealth capabilities. As far as I remember, the Ramdas only made the user invisible, so how did the other guy escape? What fearless criminals they are. Certainly not bottom of the barrel. We could be dealing with Jaegers, or perhaps, whoever they are, they've recovered what they're looking for, so I doubt you'll find success in pursuing them any further. Well, I wouldn't be so sure about that. Oh? Knew he couldn't keep me waiting.
Here are all the bases he used for the past few years, complete with security locks.
Thanks. We'll call this even.
Oh, and just to add, there's been no sign of any Jaeger Corps in the move as of yesterday. Well, be seeing you.
Oh, look at that. Just a little bonus information for our trouble that's related. Oh, this guy's name is Dingo Brad. That's Dingo. All right, guess I'm in your debt again. No, that's not how this works, okay? Someone doesn't owe you a favor and then you call in on that favor and then now you owe them a favor. That's not how this works. What was that all about? So Giacomo had multiple hideouts, did he? That could mean whatever he stole's in one of those. But if it wasn't a Jaeger Corps he had a run-in with... Oh, forget it. I can't believe you turned to Dingo. And right in front of me. You know I'll sing like a canary for you any day of the week. Sorry, but I never was much of the faithful type. Plus, I don't like birds. They make too much noise. Well, we got a lot of new information out of that. I'm just surprised at how well connected you are. What can I say? I spend time putting people in my debt so I can cash in favors when I need them.
You must have amassed quite a collection by now.
I don't think this is somebody that we've met before, but she sure does look familiar from this angle.
Oh. Oh! I'd heard you were a regular at this establishment,
No, never mind. I've never seen her before in my life.
but I wasn't expecting to run into you just as it was opening.
That makes two of us. First Renee, then you. Hell of a day for me.
You've certainly spent a lot of it skulking around. Up to no good, I assume. I imagine it was half your own fault that you got hauled off to the police station.
Well, hold on a second. All right, relax with the accusations here. We were just there.
Wish I could argue otherwise. Should have known it wouldn't take long for you to hear about what happened and come running.
Oh, she must be a bracer. That's probably what's going on here.
Of course. I've paid a visit to the scene of the crime as well. Giacomo was hardly a pleasant person, but he was a decent informant to use when work called for one. I hope you know that the detectives at the station and that reporter are very displeased with you, by the way.
Oh well.
Your love of causing trouble for everyone and taking advantage of it to further your own goals has never been a bright spot for you.
Don't got a clue what you're talking about. Damn, this is awkward.
Why'd I press the button?
I can't believe it. Forgive me. My name is Elaine. I'm sorry for interrupting your conversation. Oh, not at all.
He's not.
I think we have much to discuss. But we're also both busy, so that can wait for another time. Whoever can solve this case first, the CID, the police, the guild, wins the prize lying in wait. That also goes for our presumed suspects. I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. Be careful not to get too involved here, Van. I'm almost certain that the two people who killed Giacomo were from A.
Thinking the same. But I'll chalk myself up to owing you one for telling me.
Oh, that walking animation needs work. You know her. What, you do too? Guess she does pop up in the paper every once in a blue moon. Of course I know her. She's really famous. I don't think there's anyone in Calvart who doesn't know the face of Elaine Auclair. She's one of the youngest bracers to ever reach A rank in the guild. They're ace. And they even call her, I can't remember, it's something like Beauty's Blade. Elegant enough for someone so adept with the swordsmanship of the Old Kingdom. Hard not to feel for her having beauty slapped on her title. Yeah, it sounds a little disrespectful. Are the two of you close? She's just an old friend. Anyway, we've wasted enough time here. We almost got this one in the bag. We can talk stuff through while we're on the move. You hear that little bit of jazz music, like, sneaking in there? That sounded pretty nice. To make it short, I think it's safe to assume the thing Giacomo made off with is the orbment you're looking for. We know it was stolen from an antique shop a week ago by a gang of punks. Said punks met with a pair of others to deliver it, and at this point likely had some dispute over Mira. That was when the police charged in onto the scene, leaving Giacomo, who called them, to snatch the goods using his ramda. But then that pair tracked him down the very next day, which, by the way, I'm very curious how they were able to accomplish that, because the guy was invisible. Okay, there's literally no trail to follow, and somehow they were able to track him down. They won't tell us, but I hope they do. They waited in ambush for him at the crime scene and murdered him, then stole his ramda and used it to escape. Ramdas are like any other kind of computer that they've got apps to note things down and store info in them. Giacomo was always a cautious one, so I'm sure he wouldn't have made the info too easy to identify. But I'm guessing the locations of his hideouts were on there, so the culprits could use the device to find him. Do you think his murderers are using the Ramda to find which spot has what he stole in? That's basically exactly what he just said. Pretty much. Fortunately, we've been able to use data on his recent movements to narrow down the top 3 places it could be. One's in front of Trion Tower in the 3rd District, one's near Central Station in the 7th District, and then there's one in the 12th District around the Grand Circuit racetrack on the outskirts of town. Which of them would you say is the most fishy? LT plus backlog. They tested the gang members and found no drugs in their systems. Easy. Oh yeah, that's how it works. Exactly. I like how I can pull this up in the middle of a conversation. I don't know if that was a thing in the other Trails game. And they all could be fishy, but let's go with the Grand Circuit racetrack. I think it's safe to rule the tower and the circuit out. Last night, they were both full of people because the Summerfest and Z1 Grand Prix. Oh, I see. Having more people than usual would raise the odds of someone seeing him enter his hideout. Or it wouldn't because he can turn invisible. Exactly. He wouldn't have wanted that. There's a door down an alley just before the station that leads underground. My guess is Giacomo hid what we're after down there. And that means we should...
The next stop will be in the cathedral in Edith's 5th District. Those traveling to the cathedral or Aramis Academy.
We. You're getting off on the next stop. What? Closest station to your dorms, right? Don't worry, I'll have this thing cracked by the end of the day, and the goods with you by tomorrow. But you were fine with me helping you before. Before, this is now. The affiliation of Giacomo's murderers changes everything. Are you referring to that A group? Yeah, everyone is on guard about him right now. Not just the cops and the guild either. I'm talking other organized crime groups and even Jaeger Corps. If that's who we're up against, I can't promise I can keep you safe. So this is what we gotta do. I'm sorry. Get off the train.
We are now arriving at the cathedral. The doors on the left side will open.
You blocking the way out. Like, can you get out so other people can get out? Oh my gosh, that walking animation needs work.
I thought I told you to get off at the next stop.
You'll have to forgive me for being selfish, but you have to understand just how much that memento means to me. It's something that connects me not just to my great-grandfather, but my mother and grandmother too. And that's not the only reason I want to see this through now. A man is dead. I know you don't like the idea, but I feel like I have to be a part of this. Whatever may come to happen. I'll do everything I can to ensure my own safety, and I'll do everything you ask in the field. So please, won't you let me come with you?
No. Put your foot down, Van.
Fine. You're the client.
Or your wheel down.
I can see you at least know your way around that staff and arts. But you're gonna have to do everything to keep yourself safe. And if I give you an order, you follow it. If you fail to do that, I terminate our contract then and there. We clear?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Van may pretend to be someone that doesn't care, but at the end of the day, he's just a regular JRPG protagonist with all the JRPG strings
We
attached.
are now arriving at Edith Central Station. Those transferring to the Transcontinental Railroad.
So far, he is no Yuri. And why does she walk like that? What did... feels like the sun went down real fast. Following orders except this one. Yeah, exactly. Plus, he already said earlier that there will be a time where she probably will need to not be involved any further. And she's like, fine, yeah, sure, absolutely. But even at this hour, with nothing going on, there are so many people. It is how most people arrive in the city, after all, not to mention all of the department stores. There's also that fancy new Orbital store that doubles as a cafe that's been drawing a lot of customers. Yeah, I know the one. Funny to think how much this area's changed in just a couple of years. Those big screens weren't here before either. But now it's hard to imagine them not being here. City's changing so fast it makes your head spin. True it is.
Very good evening to you, Edith. It is now 6:45 p.m., which means it's time for today's evening news. President Gramhart held a press briefing at the Presidential Building in Vontai at 3 p.m. today. He discussed this year's ending of the reparations from Erebonia, and with it, the impact it will have on Calvert's future.
It has been 2 years since the Erebonian Empire launched an unprovoked war of aggression against us. A vile act we were generous enough to forgive. The price it paid in the form of reparations was steep, but every last mirror was, in my strong opinion, justified. I believe its actions, its atrocities, the past several centuries are behind it. I warmly welcome it back to the international community with open arms, promoting an era of peace between us, even when it comes to Crossbell State. With reparations due to come to an end this year, some have raised concerns that an economic recession is on the horizon. Those fears are unfounded. We have used these past 2 years to transform our economy, to bolster our capital, to better our technology. No nation has surpassed what we have accomplished because no nation can. We cannot take our supremacy for granted. I have every intention of taking this power and using it to lead our great world as a whole to a more glorious, prosperous future.
Well, if it isn't everyone's favorite president. He's a little heavy-handed, but you can't say he hasn't delivered. Calvard's GDP passed the Empire's in his first year in office, and this year's on track to surpass that by a lot. Yes, I suppose that's true. He's been enacting some very dangerous policies across the board, and not just economically. Compared to the last guy, yeah, Samuel Rocksmith seemed more grounded. Anyway, didn't mean to talk politics. Would prefer not to waste time in rival territory. You have a rival? Oh, the Bracer Guild. I do remember hearing they had a branch near Central Station. Yep, maybe they aren't expecting to hear anything close to home, but they've still got a sharp crew on board. So let's get to work. We gotta get what you're looking for before the duo who got Giacomo do. Right. do you know where the entrance to his base is then? Right over there. Evil guy confirmed? He's definitely evil. If you remember, the final scene that I got in Trails into Reverie, I believe he was in it. And you know, he was doing some shady conversation making. The alley next to that old department store leads to the door we're looking for. Come on. Yes, sir. Giacomo. This button.
Not this way.
Oh, but I want to go to the Orville store. So, I'm gonna call it quits here for today. As mentioned, this week is gonna be a shorter stream time, as well as Monday of next week. But starting Tuesday of next week, we should hopefully get back on track with longer-ish streams. You don't remember, but he was talking about leading the whole world. Oh, yeah, there is that too. But yeah, thanks for watching. Appreciate it. I'll be back tomorrow, 7 a.m. Pacific time, and we will continue with some Trails through Daybreak. And with that, see ya the next time I see you. Peace.